Hello. So you're alive. Who saw me in the morning? Okay, you're alive. So thank you for waiting for this talk. It's funny because I'm nervous now and I was not in the morning. Probably it's, I'm aging. I don't know. It's a little bit weird because it's standing there, so I might, look time to time there. But today I will give a talk about becoming free. Sometimes when you're employed, you think you don't want to be employed anymore, and you're dreaming about freedom. So I will give a talk about freedom and how to fulfill your dreams. And this is me, and why I'm giving this talk. So I'm actually switched to data science 2.5 years ago. I get my first job in data science at Capgemini Group, but before that I get my master's in accounting and auditing at Stockholm University and Uppsala University. I was studying taxation law for a year, and I was running my self-employed company. I had also 2 other employees that I was helping to sell them as a consultants. And that was my 4.5 years experience. So that's why I can tell you about what does it imply to be a consultant, what Sweden is there to offer you when you're a consultant, what to expect, and what my clients, that I had a lot, I had like up till 30 different companies and self-employed people, and most of them were IT. Among my clients were Pragma and TEDx Stockholm. I was doing auditing for TEDx and accounting for Pragma. So these are like examples of the practice from the previous years. So let's think that you have this vision, and you have your vision about what does it mean to be a consultant right now. And we will see how your vision will change in the end of this talk. But anyhow, we need to start somewhere. So let's ask several questions. Is it like battery going down? Why it's not working? Now. So answer yourself honestly. Do you enjoy what you do? Because you will not be able selling something that you don't like. And as a consultant, you need to sell yourself. Then answer yourself also honestly. Are you good in what you do? You're not just lucky to be employed in this, but are you really better than average? And then ask yourself if you're enjoying learning new things constantly, like in continuous basis. And the next question, probably the most important, is are you a problem solver? Do you like problems? Do you feel like the change is coming to your life every time for the better? So if on the most of these questions you answer yes, then we can continue talking about you being a freelancer. So you're not just a Python developer, you're a problem solver. It just happened to be that Python is everywhere. It's most demandable language right now. It's most popular language. So, but Python as itself, it's not what you sell. You're not selling your skills as a Python developer. You're selling yourself as a problem solver. So you need to find the problem that you can solve. And just Python happens to be the most useful tool, the most useful language to solve the problem. For example, like English solving my problem, being Russian, communicating in Sweden with you. It's just a tool. It's nothing else. So it's like where you can use this tool. The most frequent areas where you can outsource yourself as a Python developer is when you're working with cloud platforms, when you are working in data science or data analysis, with data analysis, when you do business analytics, predictive analytics, DevOps. I absolutely sure there are more areas in Python that where you can be a freelancer, but think that if you would like to work remotely, usually you need to have something that will not involve you so much working with a team. And in the big companies, there are less projects where you are not involved as a big team. So think about that. But from my practice, from my clients, from my perspective as a data scientist, I can guarantee you that if you go to one of these 4 areas, you will definitely be demanded. So right now we know that there is a demand. Yeah, I showed you this slide already. So there is a demand for Python. We know that you can Python, you can supply. So market is usually the demand and the supply. Yeah, great. What are we missing? We are missing the element if the market is ready to pay you this amount that you would like to get from it. So here is the statistics from United States, how much the freelance Python developer is getting per month and annually. So now we have 3 elements. You can do Python, you are a problem solver, you are better than average, and the market is ready to pay you for the amount that you would like to get. Okay, it feels like a very good situation. You don't need to persuade anybody and create the market. The market is there for you. So now we compare. Right now, I assume that you're employed. And you're employed and you're thinking about moving to being a freelancer. So the difference between employee and a freelancer can be compared with 4 aspects. First is the working hours. So I'm not going to tell you how you work as an employee, you know it's better. But as a freelancer, it can be different hours that you work, but usually as a freelancer, we think I work when I want, where from I want. Earnings, it's like not stable, but I'm invoicing. Mindset. As an employee, you have your mindset. As a freelancer, you need to be not only a good Python developer, you need to be a good salesman, a good communicator, a good organizer, a good project manager, maybe accountant at some time, because you need to take care about your life right now. So think what H&R department is doing, what is accounting department is doing at your work, the secretary, the receptionist is answering the call. Now you are one person in all, like a Shiva with a lot of hands. And the skills. As a good Python developer, sometimes you just need to be a good Python developer and please be nice with the teammates, right? They're not asking you so much more from that. Here, as a freelancer, you need to communicate with people, probably be a good salesman, feeling the market, feeling how much you can earn, reading between the lines, feeling when there is like the deal closure procedure. It's just like more soft skills than you have been expected to have as an employee. In earnings is also important to say that when you are employed, you get money per month for the hours you spend at work. When you're a freelancer, you get paid for the hours you actually deliver something. So start counting like from Monday, how much hours you really work productive with the code. Like you take out this from your head and you create something. Not standing next to the cooler, go to the kitchen and spend hours in the meetings. No, this is not production. Clients, if they are not getting you as an independent contractor, they are not going to pay you for that. They're just going to pay you for a productive code that you wrote. So these hours when you're waking up, taking a coffee for half an hour, nobody will pay you for that. That's important. So between employee and freelancer, there is a gap. And if you would like to make this switch from being employed to the freelancing, I can advise you to go and become employed consultant, because in the mindset, it's just like hybrid of being employed. Because you're employed, you still have your salary, you're still salary based, you're still safe. But at the same time, you need to report your hours, you need to allocate your hours. You kind of start getting the perception of productivity of yourself at work, because you need to allocate this to one of the client. And then because you usually get different clients, then you cannot just like, when you're employed, you come to the company. It's very seldom when company tries different techniques, different databases, like I'm from data science, so sometimes a company just choose, oh, we're using Looker, no, we're using Power BI, no, we use only Tableau. It's very seldom when you use all of three, but as a consultant, you need to know all three of that, because you need to know what is best for your client. And this is what you will do also as a freelancer. So that's why being employed as a consultant is a very good hybrid stage where you can do this first step on the way to becoming free. And sometimes consultants is also not just a salary, it's also provision based. So you kind of trying not only understand your productivity hour-wise, you also try to understand how you can influence the result. And then the consultants, very, very often we get, because I'm working in consultancy right now, we get the feedback from our clients. Our clients rate us. We meet our clients. We communicate with our clients. This is how you also develop other soft skills that I have been just talking about, that employees sometimes not having due to their services that are not requiring that. There is something else, and that calls independent contractor, that I believe in Stockholm right now, what you are hitting when you are making this step towards a freelancer. So I had several cases of my clients who were employed. They were not employed as a consultant, they were just employed. And then they did this step. They say, I go. Now I will be working as a freelancer. I want to spend more time with my family. I want to work 4 hours a week, pick up my daughter or my son or both of them a little bit early from the kindergarten and spend this time. And when these people come to the market, they understand that Stockholm doesn't want this. Stockholm market wants you to be in an office on site from 9 till 6 or from 8 till 5 and paying you the same salary, invoicing regularly every month. And this is the reality, because the most companies would like you to be an independent contractor if you insist of being a freelancer. There is a plus here. And the plus here is usually the contracts between 6 and 12 months. I saw several contracts that were up till 2 years. It's a little bit more rare. Usually it's like 9, 12 months, I would say. And that what the people are doing there is like they're distributing their salary. They're just not taking high salary every month. They work 6 months, and then 6 months they say, oh, now I can go and live in Portugal for another 6 months. And just do not nothing or develop something. And because they have their own company, they continue paying the money themselves as a salary, because they just created this pot of money allocated in this bank account during the 6 months of the project. And then 6 months later, they come back, find another project, work another 9 months, go on vacation for 3 months. So that works, but you need to be ready that it's not like I work from cafe, having my latte 2 hours a day. No, it's just like you on site, in the team, on call, round the clock. And it's also not sometimes it works on the distance. I had several clients who were moving to Thailand or to Spain, but Thailand, so you understand, if you're working for Sweden, it's like, I think, 6 hours difference, so your workday will come at 2 o'clock and end at 9. So you have your free time before the lunch, and then you work until 9 p.m. Yeah, but you live in Thailand. Well, and get Swedish salary. It's not that bad. Here I think I wrote something. Yeah, and I can recommend you to consider going to independent contractor if you have a salary today over 50,000 kronas. If you have less salary, don't think about this. If you have a question why, I will explain this gladly. Where to start? Okay, so right now you're thinking, okay, I'm ready for this. I'm ready to make this step. I would work less because I have an idea of app. And I would like to develop this app, but every day I come home and I have no time to work on it, no forces, nothing. So what you start with, you save up 4-6 months salary. Or not even month salary, you don't have to think this way. You can save 4-6 monthly costs. Like you calculate how much your living expenses are, how much you spend on the food, on the transportation, and that will be enough for you. Yeah, then make a research what markets wants. So just ask the friends around if they have any freelancers in their companies and what kind of services these freelancers are doing if they are working with Python. Maybe they have something because the market is in demand. Like demand is higher than the supply, so there is always the room. It just you need to find this room on your terms that will make you happy. So start preparing your portfolio. Build network for freelancing, calculate your hourly rate, and check if the market is willing to pay you how much you want. Just something happened with my slides. I will concentrate first on this. This is the most ridiculous slide I ever done, but I was trying to remake it, and I don't know how. But what is also the common problem of some of my clients they were thinking, oh, my salary is 50,000 kronas per hour. Oh, per hour, nice rate, 50,000 kronas per month. When they are thinking, how much should they invoice for the new client? They just take their salary, divide on another of hours that they are working per month, and get the rate. And just add VAT to this. And then at the end of the month, I don't have any money. Yeah, of course you don't, because you didn't calculate your hourly rate properly. So how do you need to calculate your hourly rate? So basically, this is the formula. So you take your current salary, if you're happy with that. If you're not happy with your current salary, take the salary you would like to have. Then you add 12% of your vacation fund, because this is what your employer is ending to your salary every month. You just don't see that. Then I advise to put 8% on your sick leave, because we are getting sick. And 14 days, first 14 days when you're sick, you're not getting paid from Försäkringskassa. You're getting paid from your employee. So it's his money for you not working. So when you're your own employee, first 2 weeks you're not having any money from the government. You're paying yourself. Then think about if you are going really to freelancing, not to the independent contractor. There will be some months when you will be without a client and you don't want to be desperate and accept the offer that you don't like. So create a fund that you will use for your salary when you don't have any client. Then put 5% for your accounting services. Accountants cost less than Python developers. So please pay accountant. Don't go there. 5% of the cost for the phone, and you can just see the minus, and the red ones is the 32% of extra tax. This is what calls arbetsgivaravgift. This is what the Your employee is paying for yourself, but you never see that. And then, instead of 460 kronas per hour, you get between 850 and 1.2. So you see where the money is. And then, of course, you will never work 160 hours per month, like delivering something for your client, because you will do telephone calls, you will probably go and pick up somebody from the kindergarten earlier. It will never be like this. You will probably need to submit something to Skatverket, writing emails, and this is not including to your hourly rate. So calculate that. From my perspective, from my experience again, I think you can think that you will work productive between 4 and 6 hours per day. I think 6 hours per day of productivity is the maximum I have ever seen. So when you start in Sweden, what you do? You open LLC. Don't ask me why not a sole trader. Just don't go to the sole trader, go to LLC. It is aktiebolag on Swedish. And from the 1st January, there is a very, very, very high probability that it will be 25% instead of 50%, or 25,000 instead of 50,000 to open LLC company in Sweden. Find a good accountant, because you need one. You don't have to be a Swedish citizen or having permanent to be able to open your own company in Sweden. It's just enough that you have social security number and learn how to time manage yourself. And this is probably why time management is red, because this is the most common problem I had with not all my clients, but with all people who are going freelance from employment. They cannot manage their time. If they had bosses, they cannot manage their time. It's surprisingly shocking how they cannot manage their time when they don't have a boss or a deadline. So I think it's just because my sticker is not connecting. Sorry. So why good accountant is important? First of all, good accountant will cost you less than your hour. And if your hour costs more, double more than an accountant, just buy the professional services. And good accountant, first of all, will give you the perception of how things are. They are usually up to date, and they can really save you money. Really. For example, you can save 10% on arbetsgivaravgift, that is 32. If you have a salary of 50,000, it's around 60,000 kronas per year. It's a lot of money. I think it's worth to hire a person who can save you these bucks. And when I'm talking about that they can save you money, I'm referring for this Sal, Kapitel 2, it's like second chapter, this paragraph. There is something that our government give us back if we work with development. So, for example, if you work as an under-contractor, as a freelancer for the company who's developing new software of, I don't know, recognizing some app, it counts as a forskning. It counts as utveckling, like research and development. So if you are 70% of your time developing some new product that was not existing before, you can get this discount from your tax. And the good accountant will tell you that. Just not everybody knows about that. So they will really bring money to your table. So who are your friends? In Sweden, Skatverket, Bolagsverket, Verksamt. Skatverket is taxation office, Bolagsverket is registration office. Verksamt is a web page where you can do all the services. Unionen, you also need to take care about them, because kind of be friends with them, because if you don't have money to go to a lawyer or have a legal consultant, Unionen might be yours, friends there. And if you will find an accountant, the accountant probably will work with some lawyer in pair. If it's a good one, they can give you referrals. So pay attention on time management again. I don't know how to bring up that so much. And try to start selling yourself to anybody with anything. Just try to teach yourself, put a price on your forehead and don't feel ashamed about that. Because it's a lot of people who are ashamed about that. So if you get the offer who is like, you saw the calculations, yeah? You need between 860 and 1.2. If you get an offer of 700, you need to be able to negotiate with the client that, no, sorry, it's not going to work. I will not make it. Because if you accept the offer of 700, for example, here, if we go back, you know, this is supposed to be back and forth, but no. So if you accept the offer of your hourly rate 700, it means you all work more hours of time, you see, because we divide this on an hours of you would like to work. So it means or you work more hours, or you're taking away 15% for client no fund. It means you will be desperate when there is no client. You always sacrifice with something. And some people, they just not teached to sell themselves and by saying no. Because we were not teached about that when we were employed. So it's no question why it's so hard for us. Starting this process, going to freelancing, I said that you need to create a portfolio. However, when you're employed and work with development, very often it states that you are not allowed to do any competition development on a site. Or if you create something and apply for a patent, the company where you work will earn it. They owe that. So intellectual property, patents, non-competition, this stuff, you need to be very understanding what is going on in your contract. If you don't, here is the email of Cecilia Lindberg. This is the lawyer I have been working with when I was an accountant. She is here in the room. She came. So if you have any questions, you can come to her and ask her. But if you need to create your portfolio, starts with open source. There are several companies that giving you money if you develop something for open source. And by open source, your company where you employ, they cannot own this. They cannot say this is theirs, even if you get money for this work, because it's open source. And by that, you can start creating your portfolio. Time management, again, so summing up. So what is important to do? So we know that we are good Python developers, and being good specialist in Python is not so big deal. If you have more than 5 years experience of everyday coding, you're more than a professional. It's not the Java. You don't have to have 15 years in your portfolio to sell yourself. Read your contract right now that you're having. What is there? What is about intellectual property, competition agreement, and so on. Build your network and a portfolio. You know, in venture capital, they say if you need money today, you need to drink coffee with an investor a year ago. So kind of, you can right now creating a network and then go to freelancing, because you cannot have it at the same time. Calculate your rate. You have a formula how to calculate it. Plan your freelance future. What kind of future do you see? Do you see working remotely or being independent contractor? You need to understand, and you really need to see the clear picture what market is ready to offer you. Plan your finances. It's in the way, if you are going to apply for a loan, like for apartment loan, it's better to buy an apartment when you're employed. If you're having a baby, it's not a problem because SGI is saving for 36 months. So you're safe here. But if you need to buy an apartment, it's better to buy it while you're employed, and then you can go freelance because bank will never check you again. Just pay the bills. And living conditions, like you're satisfied with everything. So, thank you. There will be a next one.
2 questions. Why 50K? Why AB?
50K? What do you mean 50K? Salary. In Sweden, we have something that calls progressive taxations. So as soon as you get a salary, it's updating every year. So I think 2019 is 42,000 kronas per month. You're paying not only the 29, 35%, depending on what county you are folkbokförd, where you're registered, but you start paying something that calls additional tax, and there is lower board for this tax and higher board for this tax. And as soon as you go over this board, it's additional 15% of taxes you're paying, and then plus 5. So in Sweden, the more you get as an employed person, the more taxes you pay. So in the end, your taxes can end up around 60%. And 50,000 is approximately the rate when it makes no sense to be employed anymore, taxation-wise. Because if you will be able, as your own employer, invoice these hours, from taxation purposes, it's much better to invoice them, because then you can distribute them in the company, you can go buy a land on your company or property on the company, you can do a lot of stuff with this bulk of money, because that will be not your salary. So basically, when you get salary, first you pay taxes, then you get money. But when you're self-employed, first you pay the bills, minimize the amount of money you need to pay taxes then you take away the salary. So kind of, you use more amount of cash. And the second question?
Why AB?
First of all, if you develop something, it's you and your company are separate. So AB is the only one like juridisk person. It's like different legislation. So if somebody go to the court against you and you're a sole trader, you're responsible with your apartment, with all your private bank accounts for everything what you did in your professional area as a sole trader. So if somebody will take you to the court, you will pay by your own money. In AB, you and your company are separate stuff. You just bankrupt your company and go free, and you never end up in the Kronofogden. You don't need to have your personal bankruptcy. This is one of the reasons. Then if you want to have this discount of 10%, I think you have to be an AB as well, because in sole trader you don't have a salary. If you don't have a salary, you don't have this tax. Therefore, you're paying other taxes that are kind of the same. And then it's also, in developing, we have quite high rates, and it's better to have an aktiebolag there. It's like, it's again, taxation-wise, it's smarter with this amount of return having an AB. I mean, even in Skatverket, I think they say like this: if your return is around 1 million per year, go to AB, not even thinking about sole trader. In the discussions like this, it just will help you to manage your finance better. More questions?
Right. It looks like we ran out of time. So the last question, yes, I'll give a mic to you.
Do we need to leave the place at 6 or what? No? I'm okay. I can stay on stage. I'm the last speaker.
Okay, so the question is, how do you prepare to survive a recession?
What do you mean recession? Define recession.
Like economical downturn where the... Sorry?
How you prepare to refine recession when you're employed?
Like survive a recession. Like
How you survive the recession when you're employed? You get fired. What do you do?
In general, I get benefits from
You
the
will
government
not. If it's a
because I
recession-
paid like the union and stuff.
Yeah,
for
but
that.
you can also pay your union as a self-employed. So you will still get an akassa. There is a kassa that calls for etagerna, like for self-employed people. If we're thinking about akassa, it's the same stuff as in being employed. If we're thinking about parachute, but somebody is firing us, when it's recession, you can be fired without any parachute because company just say goodbye for you. And they have a possibility to do this during the recession. So there will be no golden parachute for that. But if you have been paying for Akassa and for Unionen, you can just continue doing this. It will be just different Akassa. That's why Unionen is still your friend. There is something that calls Kapitalversicherung. It's just like capital insurance that also, like, in case you lose a client, they can help you with that. So you kind of, as if you lost your job. It's more and more common right now in Sweden. It looks like the government really tried to, like motivate us to go to that area. Because it's like you take care about yourself. You ask them less questions. Because it's totally different mindset, because when you are self-employed, you kind of understand that everything is in your hands. You don't think that government owns you something. No, you just control your life. And it's in a different mindset. You don't think that somebody have to pay you something. You take care about your life. And this probably give this switch from this more social government that we were having when the biggest employer was governmental companies, because there is a switch right now. More? Hit me.
All right.
So your talk was titled Becoming Free, but you just said, if you're self-employed, it's all in your hands. Have you found that people actually find this more free? Does it make them happier? What's your experience with that?
But as you remember, I start what makes you happy.
Right.
So if I will talk like of people in general, it will be generalization, yes? And as soon as we generalize something, it's, I would say working with 30 different clients, I was actually the only one who went to be employed. Because right now I'm employed because I changed my profession. And I feel very comfortable working as a consultant, employed consultant. But nobody of them went back to be employed.
Okay.
So this freedom of doing whatever you want, like, yeah, of course you work a lot, but you feel it's like it's your baby. You feel so emotionally connected to the company, to your self-employers, to your little business, that it's really like a tie. And a lot of people also like feel somehow maybe more status to introduce themselves as a self-employed. They don't say they're self-employed. They say they're CEO of the company of one person, but it's there's choice. But it's basically employment. But no, it's like as soon as they feel that they can earn, but if they are really good developer, if we talk about good developers, they are in demand. It's like, I don't know what you need to do to stay without a job. If you stay without a job, it means you haven't read some codes. I mean, codes between the lines, what the market, you didn't really understand what the market wants. So, but as soon as you understand that, you're in chocolate, as we say in Russia, you're in chocolate. It means you're good. Everything is fine.
All right. I think we can continue, not like somewhere, like in more like light atmosphere after it. Thank you for your talk one more time.
Thank you.